Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gerardo Morillo, founder of ProsperityLifeX.com. Today, I'll be doing a topic on rapport. It is raining right now, and that's why I'm not going to be doing a actual video vlog. So I'm just going to be recording this podcast out in the rain. If you're trying to make new friends, or if you're just trying to make friends in general, this podcast will help you address that. What is rapport? Rapport generally is a feeling of sameness, likeness, and it's also a mix of safety and trust. Think of your own family members. You have great rapport with your family members, generally speaking. Even if you don't like them, you at least have rapport with them. With strangers, you have to build rapport, and you're generally starting from scratch with strangers by default. Even if you're friendly, even if you're cool with strangers, it's important to understand that every time you meet someone new, there is zero rapport. And this is something that I kind of struggle too, because I generally am very fast forwarded, and I can kind of I guess I assume that I can just skip a lot of steps just because I kind of intellectually understood a lot of these kind of social concepts. But the thing is, if they're not feeling rapport, if they're not feeling that they can trust me or you or anyone, the amount of theory and intelligence, or social intelligence, is not going to be as useful per se, because rapport is not, it is a matter of intelligence, but more importantly, it's more about that kind of social safety, that feeling of likeness, that feeling of companionship. Generally, people are similar, or people just have a good time, they have fun around each other. Those kinds of people will feel rapport with each other. Hold on one second, sorry. This freaking rain is distracting me. And this is a golden rule, kind of like a universal law. It doesn't really matter how intellectual or how what people think. This is something that is it's encoded inside the DNA, we can say. So no matter what, you need to build that rapport. Well, you don't need to, but it is wise to build rapport everywhere you go. This way that you can gain confidence in the social environment, and the social environment can gain confidence, and they can start to trust you as well. So one way you can do this is to simply just say hi, introduce yourself to random people down the streets. This is why you'll see me kind of be just random sometimes when I'm just saying hi, hello to other people. This builds some social momentum, this builds some social confidence, and also relief, because now you're familiarizing yourself with the territory. This is very, very important. Certain people, they kind of try to intellectually bypass this, but this is not a intellectual thing. This is how should I say this? I guess we can say biology. This is like a biological thing inside our DNA. You can call it coding, but that's what it is. It's codes. In order to gain confidence, you need to familiarize yourself with the territory, talk to the town people, get social status, because this goes way, way, way back. This goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. That's why we have these conditions today. And what's funny is, we don't really know this. We're just kind of going through these things in life, and there's these hidden laws. There are these hidden rules, and if certain people do things naturally, and they'll get some results, but it won't be as good or as great as if they knew the laws of the universe, or they knew, I guess you could say, the rules of God. Because if we did, it'll be much easier to kind of just interact with each other. Most people are kind of just guessing and doing random trial and error, and it's not based on any kind of science or any sort of knowledge at all, which is all right. They'll give results too. It's important to crack the ice early, mostly because if you don't crack the ice early, you then find yourself having to kind of do the effort and work later anyways of having to crack the ice, break the ice. And the faster you build a rapport, the faster you can build friendship or just trust in the social environment. And this is greatly, greatly beneficial for many, many reasons. It's important to do this just so I guess you can feel safe, confident, and also the benefit of gaining friendship. I'm sorry, it's a little loud over here. They'll feel safe around you, and then you'll feel safe around them as well. And by doing this, you will increase your chances of getting lucky in social situations and your social environments, whichever they may be in. Kind of like a club. The more social status you get in the social environment, the better you will be in making friends, being happy, etc., etc. And the thing is, just by knowing this, it's not like good enough to skip the steps. It's like you still have to kind of like when you're starting from square one, like day one, like in a new social environment, you still have to kind of meet the people, introduce yourself, this and that. So it's like, just understanding this does put you ahead, but it's not like you can skip this act just because like you understand this. This is also good for salesmen, for salespeople, as in it's much easier to sell to people who already like you, and they'll be more inclined to buy from you because you're already familiar, or they have some kind of comfortness already, or some kind of pre-established idea of who you are. Now, this is also interesting in like the online world because the same rapport still is in effect in the online world, but it's the same and it's a little different, mostly because in the physical world, when two people interact, they're more actually being genuine. They're more being themselves, quote unquote. They're being compassionate people. Mostly because the DNA and the hypnosis gets fully activated during that process, and people know to kind of behave themselves. The online world is a little tricky because you can kind of do whatever you want in the online world, and you don't need to. You can get away with not behaving your best, which is why most people can kind of just post random things and get away with it. And this is because there's no real consequence. There are, but it's not real consequences. Whereas in a social tribe, there was consequences for misbehaving, such as if you didn't get social status, you got a lot less perks, a lot less bonuses, and the bonuses was generally food and sex. Those who performed the best and behaved the best generally got the most goods or the best goods. On the online world, it's still in effect. It's more like you're still building a social status, you're still building a social reputation, and I think this more implies for this more applies to people who are trying to build a business or trying to build a brand. Those are the type of people that are most likely going to be on their better behavior because they're trying to promote themselves and promote their brands. It is important to understand and realize that this is not logical. This is just mostly coded from the DNA and then probably later at some point gets reinforced by society anyways. This is why it's important to turn strangers into acquaintances or friends right from the very beginning. This way there is less issue. Now, and you don't have to do this with every single body. For some certain people you do want to avoid, of course, obviously. As a general rule, you want to be friendly with everyone, as this will help you get social confidence, build rapport, make new friendships, in which case you can exchange contact information, and you never know what kind of contacts or relationships you may find. If you're into business, you can probably sell your ideas to them if they want the ideas. And by having rapport, it is much easier to sell them something compared to if you didn't have rapport. And sales, they refer to this as a hard sell. Whenever you meet someone for the first time and you're trying to sell them a bunch of crap, it's a lot hard to do. It's much harder to do this because it is the first time. So their DNA is not really fully acquainted with your own DNA, or their mind and body system is not fully acquainted with your DNA or your mind and body system. In which case, it makes the social interaction very complicated because you have to build rapport, and you have to work towards the sales. So you have to build the trust. You have to sell them, this and that. And it is a process. That's why it's probably the most difficult thing to do in that way. Which is why building rapport early is the best way to do things. This way you don't have to kind of like cram in so much information in like one go. Like, especially like if you live around certain people and you say hi and you've seen them for like a month, and then later you kind of bumped into each other and you're like, oh, you know what, I have this business and this and that, and they're like, oh, tell me about the business. They'll be more interested, or they will be more inclined to listen or maybe even buy, because there's been already pre-established rapport. And it's important for that even for just that very reason. All right, in summary, this podcast was a little long, so we can just say you want to build rapport, you want to be familiar with people around you as soon as possible. This way you have a lot less work to do when you actually want to promote or pitch your idea. This will also, I forgot to mention, this will also work for guys trying to get girlfriends. If you have rapport with them already, it'll be easier for them to later transfer over into becoming a potential candidate for being a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whichever gender it is. When you establish yourself as someone who's friendly, safe, trustworthy, competent, then it makes it easier to convert into whatever it is you want to do. Whether it's make friends, whether it's to sell them something, whether it's to meet people or get boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it may be. It's much easier to do that when you already have pre-established rapport. All right, thanks for listening to this podcast. This has been Gerardo Morillo, founder of ProsperityLifeHacks.com. If you like the podcast, please remember to like or comment. Thank you. Bye-bye now.